Good evening and thank you for joining us. The calendar might say spring, but Old Man Winter clearly isn't done with us yet. The Thunder Bay area has been clobbered by up to 50 centimeters of wet, heavy snow. It all led to widespread closures of schools and other facilities, along with a number of flight delays at the airport. And for area drivers, Highway 102 was closed until about 5 o'clock today, while most city streets were just a huge mess. Kurt Black has the story.
Just when we thought it was safe to pack the snow shovels away, Old Man Winter arrived overnight and bombarded the Thunder Bay area with 30 to 50 centimeters of the white stuff, making for dangerous road conditions across the city, with commuters battling frozen, slushy roads, if they were lucky enough to even manage to get out of their driveway. Acting Roads Division Manager Ian Spoljerich described the situation.
It's wet, it's heavy, it's blowing, so definitely causing some issues for motorists and pedestrians on the sidewalks.
And it wasn't just small cars having issues getting around, as even this city snowplow got stuck trying to remove the snow in the South Nebing area. It was the same story for this city transit bus, which was stuck on Red River Road for several hours, and several transit routes were delayed or canceled. School buses were canceled early in the morning, and then the two local school boards decided to close the schools too, as parents were asked to come pick up their children during the lunch hour. And the theme of closures spread from the morning into the afternoon, with Lakehead University and Confederation College canceling all classes, while conditions also forced the temporary closure of the Intercity Shopping Center, as well as the Canada Game Complex, as well as many other city-run recreational facilities. With snow expected to continue to fall into the evening, Spoljerich says they have a long 24 hours ahead of them, and they will keep pushing to get the streets clear.
So we're going to continue on the mainline roadways until the snow stops, and then we'll be back out again early tomorrow morning, clean everything up, and then we'll start getting into residential areas.
In the meantime, Spoljerich urges anyone that doesn't need to be out on the roads to stay home and to stay safe. Kurt Black, TBT News.
And of course, homeowners are feeling the impact of the heavy snowfall as well. Lee Noonan spoke with people today as they were busy digging themselves out.
Snow continued to fall as folks were out with shovels and snowblowers trying to clear their driveways and dig out their cars. The wet, heavy snow made for hard work, with some saying they had been out for hours already, with still more to go.
Yeah, we are from Vancouver. We moved here 2 years ago, and we did not expect this much snow.
We were originally from the Philippines, so there was no snow at all. And then we got to Vancouver, and then there was a little bit of snow. And then we got here, and then there's this.
Well, at the crack of dawn and the stroke of noon, I've been here snow blowing. It seems like every time I come out, the sidewalk plow comes by, and then the big plow comes by. So between this driveway and the back lane, yeah, it's been I've been sweating today.
Well, this, I did hers, and I helped him. So, probably 4 hours I've been out. I got to have something to do. And if I had nothing to do, then I have to go to my camp way up in the bush and trap beaver. And
our daughter and son-in-law and the
kids are coming over.
Come for supper tonight, so I have to get a driveway clear so they can pull in. But that's okay.
We'll get there. We'll get it done.
The heavy snowfall surprised some after a tease of spring weather over the past week, while others, longtime Thunder Bay residents, said they don't expect that this will be the last storm of the year. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Yeah, those two from the Philippines had no idea what they were getting into. A special public meeting last night at City Hall saw council tentatively approve the new zoning bylaw, but not before members of the public had their say. Safety, the environment, and privacy were some of the topics that residents want to be considered. Melillo Bellows reports.
The considerable public feedback was not surprising, considering the significant changes the zoning bylaw would have on Thunder Bay. Some of the alterations include allowing residential housing in backyards, the ability to construct homes on smaller lots, and allowing people to subdivide detached homes into apartments. Sue Hamill is the executive director of Eco Superior and says stopping urban sprawl like the bylaw encourages has massive benefits both environmentally and financially for the city.
thinking about the further you build out, you're having to add more infrastructure, think about plowing. Look at the winter we just had. Think about more roads having to plow. Think about more sidewalks having to plow.
While some deputants saw benefits from the zoning bylaw, others were very critical. John Hodson is the McKellar Ward Residents Association's policy analyst and feared what changes will come from aspects such as backyard housing, which he believes could cause rental and legal issues.
Why are we talking about increasing the number of rental properties in a situation where the culture of enforcement seems to be so lax, for want of a better phrase? Why would we compound the existing problems?
One of the final comments to conclude the meeting was made by Councillor Andrew Folds, who voiced his strong approval of the new zoning bylaw because of the long-term benefits he believes it will bring and the need for a new direction.
I think it moves the dial in terms of how we plan and build this city for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And frankly, philosophically, we have to change. Philosophically, we have to do it different.
Council will be able to consider the public's concerns prior to the official approval of the zoning bylaw at the April 4th City Council meeting. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
Well, turning to COVID-19 now, the number of known cases across the Thunder Bay District Health Unit continues to slowly decline, but hospitalizations are up slightly today. There are now 29 COVID-19 patients at the Regional Health Sciences Centre, up from 25 on Tuesday. The number of those patients in the ICU is unchanged at 7. The hospital's occupancy rate sits at 100.8%, while the occupancy rate in intensive care has dipped below 82%. The Thunder Bay District Health Unit is reporting 51 new cases since its last update on Monday, and the number of active cases has fallen to 138. The latest weekly incidence rate is down to 154.1 cases per 100,000 people. That's down from 193. And the weekly test positivity rate has dropped as well, from 19.7% down to 12.5%. In the Northwestern Health Unit, there are 258 active cases. Most of those, 222, are from reserves in the Sioux Lookout Health Hub. The NWHU's test positivity rate is down to 16.2%. There were discussions about a road into the far north at Queen's Park today. Kiiwetinoong MPP Saul Mamakwa squared off against Minister Greg Rickford regarding consultations that are underway. Mamakwa says the road and other projects associated with it, including the development of the Ring of Fire, will have a major impact on the lives of those who live in the area. And while he admits there will be economic benefits for residents, Mamakwa accuses the government of rushing through environmental assessments and failing to engage in proper consultation.
First Nations that have concerns about the Ring of Fire and want more cautious approach are not being heard. Will Ontario ensure that development in Treaty 9 territories happen with free, prior, and informed consent with all First Nations affected?
We have 2 Indigenous communities leading the environmental assessment processes for the corridor to prosperity, Mr. Speaker. We understand that there's more communities that might be interested in this. We don't actually build mines, Mr. Speaker. We put those communities in that region in the best position possible to make decisions for what that region could be. The potential, as the member finally has alluded to, holds for tremendous economic prosperity done right.
Rickford says the government wants to facilitate what he calls the corridor to prosperity, which will see better access to roads, healthcare, and broadband internet, and an overall improvement to the way of life in those communities. Northwestern Ontario's lone Conservative MP is reacting to the deal announced yesterday by the federal Liberals and the NDP. Eric Melillo says he has serious concerns about the Trudeau government agreeing to prioritize NDP policy issues in exchange for keeping the Liberals in power until 2025. Mitchell Ringos has the details.
MP Eric Melillo says he is disappointed with the deal, saying it's not something Canadians voted for and no NDP candidates ran on a platform to essentially join the Liberal government. The confidence and supply agreement between Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh means the NDP will support the Liberals on specific measures and with conditions, and will not vote to defeat the government. The parties agreed to work on 7 key policy areas, including health, climate change, and affordability, but Melillo says he does not trust this coalition to move forward on these matters.
Since I've been elected in 2019 and we were in a minority situation, the NDP have been saying they were going to force the Liberals and pressure on the Liberals to deliver on a number of promises, many of which are included there. And they haven't done that to this point. So I have no reason to believe that this is actually going to manifest itself into any results for Canadians.
As for his Conservative Party, Melillo says they will have their new leader in place in September, as they are currently undergoing a leadership race, which will guide them into the future.
I think especially so after that, we're going to continue to hold the government to account, bring forward new ideas, and really be the only true opposition in the House of Commons now that the other major opposition party is in essence giving up their ability to hold the government to account.
Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
Diversity Thunder Bay hosted a free virtual event today featuring Jody Wilson-Raybould as the keynote speaker. The 16th annual event celebrates the United Nations International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. The former Justice Minister and Regional Chief from BC made headlines in 2019 thanks to her high-profile resignation from the Trudeau cabinet over the SNC-Lavalin affair. Since then, Wilson-Raybould has been a staunch critic of Trudeau's record on Indigenous rights and relationship with First Nations. More than 800 people signed in to hear her speak. She addressed why governments struggle in areas like reconciliation and racial justice for Indigenous people. She also addressed Canada's legacy of colonialism and how to create safe spaces for important conversations, something that's important here in this region.
Thunder Bay is often held up as a signpost for this work. Concerns are raised about the very public challenges around racism in institutions, in policing, and in community relations. And also, it's held up as a signpost, Thunder Bay, for hope and progress about the changes that need to happen and are happening.
The online event also included diversity award presentations. The speeches will be available for 3 months on the Diversity Thunder Bay website starting next week. The latest stage production from Badani Theatre opens tonight with a show that's altogether ooky. The community theatre troupe started working on The Addams Family, the musical, last fall, but the big cast of 26 actors is just now about to hit the stage now that COVID restrictions have eased. The musical comedy garnered critical acclaim during its initial Broadway run more than 10 years ago. Catherine Nemec stars as Wednesday Addams. She says the show is for and about families.
We're who we are, and they're from Ohio. Ohio? A swing state?
You get to see the Addams family, and we see a Wednesday that's all grown up and found love. And she's trying to navigate this evening, and she's instilled the help of her father to get through this night with her boyfriend's parents and her kooky family.
It's going to be an amazing night. Live musical theater is back in Thunder Bay, and so everyone can once again come back out, be in the theater, and enjoy a wonderful evening.
The Addams Family will be on stage at the Paramount Theatre Wednesdays through Saturdays from now until April 9th. Tickets are available online or at the door. Well, Fiona, I don't know about you, but I used to love The Addams Family. That looks like a fun show. I just hope that residents are able to dig themselves out in time to go see it tonight.
Well, here's hoping. Tonight might be a tough one, so I'm going to cross my fingers for a lot of people. The good news is the snow that fell is looking to kind of dissipate very quickly, if it hasn't already, in your neighborhood. And the snow is expected to begin to melt starting tomorrow. But let's talk about what happened today. Temperature-wise, we got fairly lucky, a low of -1, a high of +1. So not a lot of movement in temperatures. Wind chill did feel like -8 overnight, and the winds during the day pretty gusty, 32 to 45 kilometers per hour from the east-northeast. But we're not the only ones that really didn't see the thermometer move very much. If you head further west, Atikokan and Upsala, Fort Frances, even up into Dryden, really not a lot of fluctuation in temperatures. Fort Frances did have snow as well for a part of the day, but it has tapered off. Kenora currently at 4. 5 in Red Lake. They actually got sunshine today. So they've got some increasing clouds at this hour, but the sun has been peeking out on and off. Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake also fairly cool, comparatively speaking, and then it warms back up as you head into Armstrong and Greenstone at 7 and 6 Celsius. Again, they had periods of sunshine during the day. Right now, a few more extra clouds. 3 in Marathon at this hour, and Sault Ste. Marie in the thick of things as well. On this side of the lake, they have got a lot of wind, a lot of blowing snow, and they are currently at 1 Celsius. Now tonight, well, we are looking at a slightly cooler night, but slightly is just down to -4. So we are still well within seasonal range. And not only is the snow tapering off, the skies are going to be clearing as the wind tapers off as well. And that's going to set the stage for a couple of very sunny days. And we're going to hold on to that sunshine, even though it might be a bit messy and mucky, because as we head into the weekend, we do have some cooler temperatures heading back in. And I'll have more details on what that will do for your weekend plans later on in the news hour.
Thanks a lot, Fiona. Well, we're now nearly a month into the war in Ukraine, and perhaps there's nowhere that the devastation can be seen quite so evidently as in the city of Melillo. There are estimates that up to 90% of that city has been destroyed by Russian attacks. We'll have all the latest as your news hour continues.
We were all praying, well, because every moment we could die. So this is the most shocking experience I had.